Welcome to the Bondi Scrapper channel. I've been busy because we're in lockdown and, we've got to get through the decreasing pile of things to scrap. We've got a big air conditioner unit that I'm going to get to soon. And this tub that was overflowing that is getting less overflowing by the day. And more stuff to take to the scrapyard, which I don't believe is open at the moment. And who'd want to go there? Why, you've got the Delta strain of COVID floating around in the community and getting lots of people infected. Today I've been working through this milk crate full of electric motor windings, I guess you would call them, and making some progress. Here's the output for, I don't know, I guess about 2 hours worth of work, and there's about 3.5 kilos. I weighed it up before, but there's around about 3.5 kilos of burnt copper there. And last time we looked, was it $9 a kilo? Let's be conservative and say it was $8 a kilo. So that's $28 worth for earned while in lockdown. So anyway, what we're going to do today, or now that I've decided to get off my Khyber Pass and do a little bit more scrapping, is I've got this regulator gauge off what I'm assuming is an Oxy Acetylene kit, and it's got this handle there, which is, there we go, it's a Comet regulator, CIG Weld Comet regulator. That's the little sticker that was on it. But yeah, that's to open and close it, and I'm assuming one is to give a bottle pressure and one is to give a line pressure. It has now been 30 years since the last time I used an Oxy Acetylene kit. So there you go. No wonder I'm a bit of a shiny bum. So let's get stuck into this, see what we can work out in terms of what we can scrap from it. And straight away I can see there's a bit of brass here, there's a bit of brass there where my finger is, and a bit down here where the thumb is, and a bit of brass where the gauges connect into the body, and this body looks like it's brass as well, so there's going to be something there. Let's have a look. So I guess the first thing to do, and let's get you there, that's better. First thing to do is to get the handle off. It's a 5/8, so I went and found the correct size socket before I started. That's a bit of a shock. I think the vise is a bit high. I think I've got to drop the workbench down an inch or two. Anyway, the nuts ferrous, the what do you call that thing? It's called the turning handle knob. That's plastic. This other second nut would be ferrous as well. The spindle is what do you call that stuff? Brass. Right, so I just got a phone call, and but I've kept on kind of loosening things and grabbing a few tools while I was on the phone to them, so things are going to look very easy, except I haven't undone this one yet that screws down into the oxy bottle, or acetylene bottle, oxygen only it says. Let's just get this wee fella into there, tighten it up, doesn't matter if we break the plastic a bit. And get a 11/16 onto this. It's a 6-point socket, and see if we can undo it. Oh yeah, gotcha. Nothing like a breaker bar to move things along. Okay, so far in our haul we've got a couple of clean bits of brass. If we get this bit of plumber's tape off there, Done. So clean brass there. Clean brass there. Take this nipple off. Dropped it on the floor. We'll get that later. Had this rolling before. So we can take the stem cover off, which I just got that a bit loose before, so that's alright. Oh, there we go. There's what appears to be a jet in there. That thing there, right where my thumb is. That's a jet. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. To get the stem out of there, all we've got to do is hold the stem, screw it in. Yeah, that's working. Let's just kind of clamp the stem in there for a moment. Oh, hey! Oh, and the cover that I thought was plastic is actually a cast alloy. So we've got that there, it's got a bit of Vaseline on it. And somehow or another we've got to get that to screw it all the way in. Probably grab it with a pair of pliers from this side. I'll do that in a minute too, because I've got the pliers in front of me and you don't want me going backwards and forwards getting tools. There's a big spring in there, just steel. This thing here, it's got a rubber diaphragm on it, and yeah, just get the fingers in there, pull it all apart. It's got a tiny little bit of what I assume is some type of glue, and that one is, I'll call that brass, and that one is steel. Now cut the gauges off, and I would reckon that is one big chunk of brass. So I'll need to get this sticker off the back of it, prise that off, and I'll be wanting to take that jet out just to see what's underneath that in case there's a spring or a steel washer or something silly like that. But I get a feeling this is going to be all brass, and that's feels like about 200 grams. So we'll put that in the look at that in a minute pile. The gauges, maybe they wind off, maybe not. It looks like the back just prizes off. Let's grab some more tools. Right, so we've got a socket onto that. Anyway, we've got this thing apart, and as I thought, there's a rubber O-ring in there which is now on the floor, and that appears to be, to me, there right on the end of it, if you can see, that's a sintered bronze filter. So it's actually a filter made out of tiny bits of metal, so to speak. Feels a bit loose. I reckon if I wobble it around enough it'll come out. Maybe grab it with the pliers, but I'll do that in a minute. See what we can do with that. As I suspected, this is just one big chunk of brass. It's a beauty. I'm going to poke that tiny little screwdriver through my hand at any moment if I keep going the way I am, so I need to kind of get in underneath it and hammer it off. That'll make that a clean bit of brass. Look at that, using this vise. I don't know why I didn't put it together earlier. There's the inlet, the bit that connects up to the Oxy bottle. That's actually got a little Allen key something or other in there. So, found the Allen key, and it wasn't tight. Pulled it out, so a little bit of brass there. Add that to the pile, that's clean brass, and again another little sintered bronze or sintered brass filter, and the item itself, whether you can see that, it's clean brass, so we're going well so far. The gauges on the back, you can see there's just a bit of a lip just there near the, so that's where the gauge screws into the main body. Bit of a lip just there. Put your little screwdriver underneath, give it a twist. It's a plastic body. According to my mate that was just on the phone, he just told me these were made in Australia back in the day. So that makes it a bit of an oddity for one. Don't know why that's not coming off. Oh, there we go. Oh, there was a couple of little pins there, and they fitted so well that it didn't want to come to pieces. So, what do we got here? There we go. Let's come in close. Come in close, folks. There we go. So that there is all, I'll call it all brass, although I reckon that there is probably copper. It's like a little tube. So let's see if we can get that off there. I think you'd have to pull the needle off, and then that'll make it fall away just like a clock. So in order to get that face off, we've probably got to just get something in underneath it. That there is, no, I thought that was, thought the body was steel, but it's not magnetic, so at a guess it's probably brass. Let's try the same as we did with the other one. Just get the screwdriver up underneath this face cover. Try not to stab ourselves. Twist the screwdriver. There we go. And that's a beautiful gauge. If you like a gauge, that's a beautiful gauge. Look at that legible writing on it. It's in PSI and KPA. Quite specific. Don't use any oil on it. It's for oxygen. So oil and oxygen, I think, will quite certainly increase your risk of having an explosion. So what we're going to do is put the screwdriver under the needle, because these are so old, they wouldn't be, you wouldn't be allowed to use them anymore. They'd be illegal. So there's no point trying to keep them or sell them to anyone. So off comes the hand, and that's not magnetic, but I would guess that would be aluminium. And then somehow we want to get the guts of that out, because this will be premium brass and this will just be second grade brass, if it's brass, and I'm assuming it is. Back in a sec, I'm going to get a file. Okay, so we prized off the needle, and if you get your little screwdriver in underneath the gauge face, that comes off easy enough, and then you'll find right here there's two little brass rivets, and if we just get a really pointy punch and hammer and give it a smack, and keep the one beside it up, smack, and again, that just knocks those two rivets through. There's no need to drill them out or anything like that. That pulls out the mechanism, and it's a lovely piece of brass and a lovely piece of engineering. So very nice there. Unfortunately, that can't go in as premium brass because it's got some solder here and some solder up there. I guess if you're really keen, you could cut that bit off there, but there's only a few grams, so same deal with the other one, which is a similar design, but obviously measures a different capacity. Hence, this this tube here, I'll call it a tube. This tube here is of a different material, so I'm assuming that what happens is that the pressure comes up through the hole, goes into the tube, and depending on the amount of pressure in the tube, makes the tube straighten out. The more the pressure there is, and then that causes the rest of the mechanism to move and causes the needle to move. Same with this one, but as you can see, it's got multiple bends in it, but same deal. Pressure comes in here, goes into this, I call it a manifold, but this block, a block, up into the tube, and the more pressure there is, I'm assuming that makes it straighten out rather than go tighter. So, you know, certainly the type of thing that my brain would work with or think of, but there's some smart people out there, isn't there? Engineers far smarter than me. Wouldn't be hard. The housing that it came in, I gave it a bit of a file and it came up silver, so then I gave it a grind thinking it might be stainless steel, but it's obviously whatever the same material is as this cover. It's too heavy to be aluminium, so it's got to be zinc. And I think I've said before, my scrapyard, you go and you say zinc and they look at you as if you've just asked for their first child. So I just throw it in the aluminium box because they've convinced me that it's actually aluminium. So good for them. And I think that's the size of it. So what did we end up with? Well, you know, apart from the fact that we have kept this thing out of landfill because it was in a dumpster when I found it, the zinc or the alloy, let's just call it alloy. Oh, hang on, 360 grams. So call that a third of a kilo, and cast aluminium's bringing about $1 a kilo at the moment. So 30 cents there. Our premium brass, which was the good find in here, coming in there. Look at that, 0.7 of a kilo, we'll call that. And brass was $6. I'm sure it's $6 a kilo at the moment, but call it $5 a kilo, $5 a kilogram. So that'd be $3.50 there. That's okay, especially when you add it to the other big bucket of brass I've got. And our second level brass, 140 grams, so another, let's call that 50 cents. So we've pulled near enough $5 out of that, and that was a pretty quick scrap. So that's pretty good. Anyway, let's call it quits at that one. No need waffling on. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you feel like it. Always an option. And give it the thumbs up. I should make that non-optional. I should just insist you give it the thumbs up. But anyway, whatever. And thanks for watching. Bye.